What's up, Ocean? You got Matt here, and welcome to another discussion video on the release of the Crown Tundra. I know we're all super excited about what was recently released. I posted a video late last night, like 1 in the morning Eastern time, which is crazy because I should have been asleep. I had work today, but I'm out here putting out amazing content for you guys. So if you guys are new and you have not already, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more Crown Tundra DLC discussion and some more awesome competitive Pokemon discussion. Let's go ahead and get started though, because today I want to talk about GALARIAN Articuno and why I think it is super underrated. It's a very good mon nonetheless. Look, this thing has very limited coverage, but its typing, its stats, its ability, looking at everything, the whole package, it is a very strong Pokemon. This is going to be your guide on some amazing GALARIAN Articuno sets, some potential opportunities for you to potentially run in your draft league or Smogon games, or whether it's your laddering on Showdown or whatever. I definitely think that GALARIAN Articuno is going to be a really big threat, at least in part of the competitive scene. Maybe not in OU, but in UU I definitely find that it can be a very strong Pokemon. So let's go ahead and jump into it. And again, make sure to like the video if you want more. I'm going to be covering the legendary birds, the Regis, and all the rest of the new stuff. I will be getting to it eventually, talking about it in competitive Pokemon. Now let's go ahead and jump into it. The first that I want to cover is a Calm Mind set with Recover. Obviously, it's a Psychic type, it's a Flying type. This type is shared with 5 other Pokemon, or 4 other Pokemon that are fully evolved. You got like Sigilift, you got Xatu, you got Lugia, and there's one other that I'm missing off the top of my mind, but that's okay. Oricorio, I think it is? Yeah. So there's really a precedence for what this type of Pokemon is going to be doing. And I find that with Articuno's coverage options, the fact that it has Psychic and Flying moves, that hits the meta for really good damage. There's like 60 Pokemon that are not hit, at least neutrally, by that, which is great. That's not too bad at all. Flying is a fantastic offensive typing, and when you pair that with 125 special attack, powerful moves like Hurricane and Air Slash, you're really getting a lot of bang for your buck. And that's super useful in a meta that not everyone will have a really good flying resist on their rosters. So you take advantage of that with these powerful moves, and if your opponent wants to go for Defog, wants to go for bring an Intimidator or something, you get your competitive off, and oh my god, 125 times 2 because of the boost, forget about it. It's going to be hitting so hard. I think GALARIAN Articuno definitely is super underrated in the format because of it. A Calm Minding set can Calm Mind up on so many things. It is the only legendary bird of the Galar starter versions that actually gets recovery. Surprisingly, GALARIAN Zapdos and GALARIAN Moltres just don't get it, and it's very shocking, but it is what it is, and we kind of move forward with this information. I think this set is very strong. I think it's one of the best sets for it because it has Freezing Glare, which has a 10% chance to freeze. I get it's only 10%, and it's not too much. You can't really rely on it, but if you don't want to and you need to hit things on the physical side, you can always run Side Shock. That's definitely a possibility. I always think that there is going to be more of a need to run Freezing Glare than there is going to be to run Psychic, because getting a drop in special defense is not going to be as valuable as getting a freeze on something. I know we don't want to freeze our opponents. It's kind of scummy, but at the end of the day, whatever's going to work, right? We got to get the win. So that is the GALARIAN Articuno. I do want to talk about its weaknesses. It is weak to Electric, Ice, Rock, Dark, and Ghost. It's a lot of weaknesses, a lot of common types that it's weak to, which does suck, but it also resists a couple of important types that are going to be on most teams. Grass types withstanding, but we have Psychic types. Fighting types are 4 times resisted, and there's also an immunity to ground. Very useful, very spammable attacks are ground moves, not with GALARIAN Articuno around. It's a fantastic pivot because you look at some of the moves that it does get, looking at some of its options. I mean, we'll move over to the next set. I mean, you can run Heavy Duty Boots on this set as well, the same one I was talking about before, but you can run U-Turn on it. U-Turn is fantastic because it allows you to be a great pivot, and I find that Articuno, with its really solid bulk, 90 HP, 85 defense, not 100 in special defense, you can really be a super great bulky pivot. Obviously, you have access to the boosting in your special attack because of competitive. There's still that chance that you're doing that, even if you're not trying to be the most offensive thing in the world, even if you're trying to just be a really good pivot in this metagame. I think that's a huge benefit for Articuno. U-Turn, super useful. I definitely find that Shadow Ball being its only coverage option outside of its stabs and U-Turn and like Hyper Beam, or Hyper Voice, excuse me, is lackluster. It really sucks that that's all it gets in terms of coverage, but it does get boosting moves in Calm Mind. We went over that before. I just think that it's missing. If it got Mystical Fire, that'd be fantastic. If it got Draining Kiss, that'd be amazing. Obviously, it's a Psychic type, not a Fairy type. I just feel like there could be a lot more that this Pokemon could be offering. If it got a bit more coverage options, it would be so much scarier to deal with. It still would have some issues dealing with Fire types if it was running the Draining Kiss, but I just feel like it's missing that. I think it definitely deserves to be running that move or have that move in its arsenal. But now let's talk about some things that are going to be very helpful to pair alongside Articuno. I mean, I think one of the coolest things to pair with Articuno is a really strong Fire type. The reason I'm saying that is because you really want something that's going to destroy those opposing Steel types for you, because Steel's like the only type that resists flying and psychic. That's a big problem to have because Steel is such a common typing to have on pretty much every single team in Draft League. And I noticed on laddering through the OU metagame, there's a ton of people who run dual Steel types. And whether it's Ferrothorn and Excadrill, or now it's going to be Celesteela and Kartana and whatever, you definitely need to make sure you have answers to those types. So fire types like Blaziken, Cinderace, Darmanitan are all huge because in my eyes, they're the cream of the crop because they get access to really solid coverage options. And on top of that, they get momentum, and that's very useful. They're all pretty fast. Blaziken being the slowest at base 80 speed is iffy. If your metagame allows speed boost, which it probably shouldn't, then you can definitely take that. But you get access to really good coverage options on all three of those ends. Blaziken gets the extra bonus of being a fighting type as well, which I find is even more important because having a fighting type on your roster is really good to help deal with those dark types that you'd be dealing with, because those dark types are coming in on your psychic type attacks, being immune to them, firing back with super effective damage. Knock off from a stab dark type Pokemon with a good physical attack stat is going to do a huge amount of damage because, again, you only have base 85 in your defensive stats. So I definitely feel a strong fighting type is the way to go with this. Other Pokemon that really appreciate Articuno are Pokemon that can really take advantage of its 4x weakness. Something like a good normal type like Snorlax, for example. Snorlax is really solid, kind of dropped off in popularity, I found, towards the end of the Isle of Armor DLC, but that's because there's so many amazing fighting types around. And with a Pokemon like this that 4x resists fighting, is bulky as hell, has a lot of offensive potential, has really good pivoting options too, it really makes Snorlax a lot better just to have it in the format. If you compare those two together, I think it'd be really solid, allowing Snorlax to be a really strong option in this meta. Other than that, I think Urshifu, Single Strike Urshifu, is absolutely fantastic because it destroys pretty much every single type that this Pokemon deals with. Destroys the Rock, Ice, Ghost, and Dark types easily. Electric type Pokemon obviously not hit super effectively, but they're not appreciating a Wicked Blow or a close combat from a Pokemon with 130 in its attacking stats with a Choice Band or whatever the case may be. Very, very strong to pair with Articuno. Other than that, I think webs are very solid because you have only 95 base speed, and while that's good, it's decent. For pre-Crown Tundra, that would have been really good. You outspeed a lot of the metagame, you have 125 special attack, it's really solid. Unfortunately for us, with the return of all these new Pokemon, there are so many faster Mons around, so having webs on this Pokemon is very useful. It forces your opponent to also defog them away, meaning you can get your boost from competitive. Going to force a lot of different tough decisions for your opponent. That's what it's about, forcing your opponent to tough decisions and making them make a mistake so you can capitalize on it. That is what Articuno is going to do very well. I think a Choice Scarf set could be very solid as well. Just pairing this with 95 base speed, momentum gaining moves, really solid options for powerful special attacks in Hurricane, Freezing Glare, and Shadow Ball. You're going to be having a good time with a Choice Scarf set on this Pokemon. I did want to mention quickly a status set, a very supportive set with Recover, U-Turn, Light Screen, and Reflect with your Heavy Duty Boots or Light Clay are very niche, but they could definitely work depending on your opponent's team. They're relying on a fighting type that definitely has some problems, but at the end of the day, this Pokemon can cover them pretty well because it has tremendous bulk. It really takes advantage of things really well. U-Turn for momentum. Dual Screen is very useful, and again, it's the only legendary bird of the Galar variety that actually gets recovery in Recover. I find this set to be very unique, and again, like I said, it's niche, but if it can work, it will work well, I find, for sure. Kind of wish this thing got Glare, I'm not gonna lie. Look, Freezing Glare, it's chance to freeze. I kind of wish it was a chance to paralyze. I know why it's a chance to freeze, I get it, but having a chance to paralyze would have been so much better in my opinion. Just if it was 30% chance to para, fantastic, would have loved it. Oh well, we move on to the next set, and the next set I have is a Store Power set with Calm Mind, Agility, and Recover. This is obviously if your opponent does not have a good Dark type, or any Dark type for that matter. Forgot this should be Modest, so my apologies. We have 252 with a Modest nature. Very strong set. You don't even need to run any special attack investment. You can go very physically defensive to take these hits from the incoming Pokemon, deal with them decently well, set up your Calm Minds, your Agilities, and then when you get one Agility and one Calm Mind up, your Store Power's at, I think it's at 100 base power, which is very strong. It's stronger than Freezing Glare, it's stronger than Psychic, and you can really punish your opponent's team, especially if you can continue getting up those Calm Minds and those Agilities against your opponent's team. Very solid sets nonetheless. I do find it has a couple of notable weaknesses. The big one is its coverage. Its coverage is just not good enough. It does not get the job done. It's just below average, and that's it. I wish it was better. Wish it had the fire move, but it does not. What can I say? Other than that, like I said, slow for the post Crown Tundra meta. I think it definitely has a niche in probably like a tier 2 of most drafts. And one of the biggest downsides as well is there are so many new powerful Pokemon that have been re-released to this game. Really strong Pokemon that are Darks, Ghosts, Rocks, Ices, and Electrics that are going to be tough to deal with. Like the new horses, Glastrier and Spectrier, they both have stab super effective damage against GALARIAN Articuno, and Articuno just doesn't have the power it needs to destroy those Pokemon because they're so fat. So it's going to be a problem. Obviously, those are really good. They're box art legend type of Pokemon, but Articuno kind of wants to compete with everything. It wants to be good. It just can't be amazing at absolutely everything. I find its strengths, it's a really strong pivot. It's a solid special wall breaker and solid special sweeper as well, and has amazing support options. I think it's going to be really solid to pair on many different teams. It'd be very useful. Kind of wish it had a secondary ability other than competitive in case you want to run that supportive option without running a move that was, or without running a special move. But it is what it is, and I find Articuno will be a staple for many draft league teams, many teams in probably RU or UU. I'd say UU is where it's going to land in singles, but I'm very happy with the design, with the execution of it. Just wish I had a little bit more coverage. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on the video. Of course, subscribe to the channel, guys. We are getting close to 1,000 subscribers. We're still about 140 away, but the goal is 1,000 by the end of the year. Tomorrow, make sure to stick around. I have my BBR finals game going up against D-Ray and his San Diego Snugglers. My Montreal Milotic are going for the title in the BBR, the Ultimate Breedjack, so make sure to go and check it out. We got a Rapid Striker Shifu that we're trying to win. We're facing off against the Dracovish. Which water type will be the champion? Make sure to let me know your thoughts on Galarian Articuno down in the comments below. Like the video. As always, subscribe like I said before. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate you all so much, and I will see you all next time.